Well, good morning. Welcome to Sunday morning, May 17th. Welcome to this edition of Quarantine with Pastor Michelle. Right now, I am at the church, so I'm trying to, and you can see, there I am right there. That is a gift that someone got me. I love it. All right. And that's actually me. I have a costume just like that. All right. Not really. So let's start with some reflection, shall we? Teachings come from everywhere when you open yourself to them. That's the trick of it, really. Open yourself to everything, and everything opens itself to you. And here's another conversation. Sometimes when things are hardest, it feels like Creator's not listening. And a person replies, Creator can do whatever Creator chooses. When we are in doubt or confusion or fear, she could send us thunderbolts or lightning or a huge pile of unexpected cash. Waiting for that one. But most of the time she sends people. People are the miracles that emerge from the ripped and worn pattern of your life and help you stitch it back together. You learn to see the pattern better then. So let's open with prayer. Our Father and Mother who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. So I hope everyone is doing okay. That's a little better, right? The light, my phone doesn't always picks up every light that's in my office. So today, I'm at work, as I said. We have service today at 10. I wanted to share with you some words about our woman of the day. Our woman of the day is Empress Wu Zixin, and she was China's first and only female ruler. All right. So even China had a woman lead their country before we did, right? All right. I'm going to say that every day. It's my little, So, Wu Zixin, this who we're talking about, she was born in 624 AD in the Shaanxi province of China. The Wu family was wealthy, and her father, Wu Sihuhu, was a chancellor for the Tang dynasty. Unusually for the time, he encouraged his clever daughter to read, write, play music, and speak in public, skills normally taught only to boys. Her father raised her to believe that women could do anything that men can do. So both bright and beautiful 14-year-old Zixin was noticed by Emperor Tizong, who invited her to his court and gave her the important responsibility of royal laundry. One day, she bravely spoke to the emperor, who was impressed by her intelligence, and he decided to make her his secretary instead. So even though she was young, she helped with the important business of the empire and was good at her job. She says the ideal ruler is one who rules like a mother rules over her children. And then Wu Zixin was an extraordinary woman, attractive, exceptionally gifted, politically astute, and an excellent judge of men. And that's a quote by Anne Paladin. So the emperor's oldest son noticed beautiful Zixin too and fell in love with her. After Tizong died, the prince became Emperor Gaozong, even though he was already married. He loved Zixin, and they had 2 sons together. After Zixin had a daughter, the poor baby was found dead in her cot. Wu Zixin believed Lady Wang had killed her. Lady Wang was someone who was accused of witchcraft, divorced by the emperor, banished, and then killed. And Lady Wang was the first wife of Wu Zixin's husband. So Wu Zixin became the first wife of the emperor and China's new empress. Soon after, there was a huge earthquake, which many people believed to be a bad omen, proving that a woman should not rule. Her husband had bad eyesight and struggled to read, so Zixin took on more and more of the work of leading China. When Gaozong started calling himself Emperor of Heaven, Zixin called herself Empress of Heaven. She knew that she was equal to any man. So when Gaozong died, the empress made first her elder and then her younger son emperor, ruling from behind the scenes, but they did not obey her. She forced them to give up the throne, proclaiming herself Emperor of China. Ruling China with absolute power, she renamed the dynasty Tianzhou. Okay, I'm not very good at reading those kind of names. Or granted by heaven, claiming that she was a divine ruler. So she created new characters for the Chinese alphabet. Even the way people wrote would change under her reign. And many things did change. often for the better. China had long been a land where many leaders were not trustworthy, and they were lying and cheating to keep their power. So Wu decided to end all of this. She started a system of spies so that she always knew what was happening. She fired many government officials and saving money and making the kingdom run more smoothly. And she even created a special box where people could send suggestions directly to the emperor. And she used many of her people's ideas, making herself very popular. She even changed the education system, hiring the best possible teachers and introducing exams so that all workers in the government had to prove their intelligence. She reopened the Silk Road to start trade with the West, bringing much money to China. And she improved farming in the lives of her people by lowering taxes and encouraging people to grow bigger crops. And she shared out the land so that everyone had a small, equal piece to farm. So she sounds like an amazing ruler. She ruled for many years and was known by many names. But one thing is clear: she made China a fairer and more powerful place. And although many historians have shown her as a ruthless, cruel politician, she proved that women were equal to men and that they could rule just as well or better. Her tomb marker is blank, possibly because people were uncomfortable honoring a woman who held such power. Other stories believe her successes were so massive, words cannot describe them. While some believe she wanted her actions to be judged by later generations. Although her enemies accused her of many crimes, people now recognize the many positive changes she made to her country and to the lives of ordinary people. So what a woman, right? And so tomorrow we will be talking about Harriet Tubman. So that's good. I may actually watch that movie tomorrow in honor of her. And so, my friends, let's continue on with Charlotte's Web. I do really like that book, though. It's fascinating. Some of those women that have done amazing things. All right. So this chapter is called The Last Day. So we are getting close to the end of this, my friends. We only have 2 more chapters. And so Tuesday we will start, as I said earlier, we're going to start the Hunger Games trilogy. So Charlotte and Wilbur were alone. The families had gone to look for Fern. Templeton was asleep. Wilbur lay resting after the excitement and strain of the ceremony. His medal still hung from his neck by looking out of the corner of his eye. By looking out of the corner of his eye so he could see it. Charlotte. Hold on. All right, I'm just walking a little. I wanted to do this in a different spot. Okay, so I'm just walking around the church right now. Okay, wait, I haven't been in a Sunday school classroom. Let's try this. You ready? I want to finish my story. All right. It's kind of cool to be in a classroom. All right. I'm using. All right. So let's try this again. Okay. So Charlotte and Wilbur were alone. The families had gone to look for Fern. Templeton was asleep. Wilbur lay resting after the excitement and strain of the ceremony. His medal still hung from his neck. By looking out of the corner of his eye, he could see it. Charlotte, said Wilbur after a while, why are you so quiet? I like to sit still, she said. I've always been rather quiet. Yes, but you seem especially today. Do you feel all right? A little tired, perhaps, but I feel peaceful. Your success in the ring this morning was, to a small degree, my success. Your future is assured, but you will live. Secure and safe, Wilbur. Nothing can harm you now. These autumn days will shorten and grow cold. The leaves will shake loose from the trees and fall. Christmas will come in the snows of winter. You will live to enjoy the beauty of the frozen world, for you mean a great deal to Zuckerman, and he will not harm you ever. Winter will pass, the days will lengthen, the ice will melt in the pasture pond, the song sparrow will return and sing, the frogs will awake, the warm wind will blow again. All these sights and sounds and smells will be yours to enjoy, Wilbur, this lovely world, these precious days. Charlotte stopped. A moment later, a tear came to Wilbur's eye. "Oh, Charlotte," he said, "to think that when I first met you I thought you were cruel and bloodthirsty." When he recovered from his emotion, he spoke again. "Why did you do all this for me?" he asked. "I don't deserve it. I've never done anything for you." "You've been my friend," said Charlotte. "That in itself is a tremendous thing. I wove my webs for you because I liked you. After all, what's a life anyway? We're born, we live a little while, and we die. A spider's life can't help being something of a mess, with all this trapping and eating flies. By helping you, perhaps I was trying to lift up my life a trifle. Heaven knows anyone's life can stand a little of that." "Well," Wilbur said, "I'm no good at making speeches. I haven't got your gift for words, but you have saved me, Charlotte, and I would gladly give my life for you. I really would." "I'm sure you would, and I thank you for your generous sentiments. Charlotte, we're all going home today. The fair is almost over. Won't it be wonderful to be back home in the barn cellar again with the sheep and the geese? Aren't you anxious to get home?" For a moment, Charlotte said nothing. Then she spoke in a voice so low, Wilbur could hardly hear her words. "I will not be going back to the barn." Wilbur leapt to his feet. "Not going back? Charlotte, what are you talking about?" "I'm done for. In a day or two I'll be dead. I haven't even strength enough to climb down into the crate. I doubt if I have enough silk in my spinnerets to lower me to the ground." Hearing this, Wilbur threw himself down in agony of pain and sorrow. Great sobs racked his body. He heaved and grunted with desolation. "Charlotte, Charlotte, my true friend." "Come now, let's not make a scene," said the spider. "Be quiet, Wilbur. Stop thrashing about." "But I can't stand it. I won't leave you here alone to die. If you're going to stay here, I shall stay too." "Don't be ridiculous," said Charlotte. "You can't stay here. Zuckerman and Lurvy and John Arable and the others will be back any minute now, and they'll shove you into that crate and away you'll go. Besides, it wouldn't make any sense for you to stay. There would be no one to feed you. The fairgrounds will soon be empty and deserted." Wilbur was in a panic. He raced round to the pen, suddenly had an idea. He thought of the egg sack and the 514 little spiders that would hatch in the spring. If Charlotte herself was unable to go home to the barn, at least he must take her children along. Wilbur rushed to the front of his pen. He put his front feet up on the top board and gazed around. In the distance, he saw the Arables and the Zuckermans approaching. He knew he wouldn't have to act quickly. He knew he would have to act quickly. "Where's Templeton?" "He's in that corner under the straw asleep." Wilbur rushed over, pushed his strong snout under the rat, and tossed him into the air. "Templeton!" screamed Wilbur. "Pay attention." The rat, surprised out of a sound sleep, looked first dazed, then disgusted. "What kind of monkish shine is this?" he growled. "Can't a rat catch a wink of sleep without being rudely popped into the air?" "Listen to me," Wilbur said. "Charlotte is very ill. She has only a short time to live. She can't accompany us home because of her condition. Therefore, it's necessary that I take her egg sack with me. I can't reach it. I can't climb. You are the only one that can get it. There's not a second to be lost. The people are coming. They'll be here in no time. Please, Templeton, climb up and get the egg sack." The rat yawned. He straightened his whiskers, and he looked up at the egg sack. "So, it's old Templeton to the rescue again. Templeton, do this. Templeton, do that. Templeton, please run down to the dump and get me a magazine clipping. Templeton, please lend me a piece of string so I can spin a web." "Oh, hurry," said Wilbur. "Hurry up, Templeton." But the rat was in no hurry. He began imitating Wilbur's voice. "So it's hurry up, Templeton, is it? Ho, ho, and what thanks do I get ever for these services, I would like to know? Never a kind word for old Templeton, only abuse and wisecracks and side remarks. Never a kind word for a rat." "Templeton," said Wilbur in desperation, "if you don't stop talking and get busy, all will be lost and I will die of a broken heart. So please climb up." Templeton lay back in the straw. Lazily, he placed his forepaws behind his head and crossed his knees in an attitude of complete relaxation. "Die of a broken heart. How touching. My, I notice that's always me you come to when in trouble, but I've never heard anyone's heart breaking on my account. Oh, no, who cares anything about old Templeton?" "Get up," Wilbur screamed. "Stop acting like a spoiled child." Templeton grinned and lay still. Who made trip after trip to the dump? Why, it was old Templeton. Who saved Charlotte's life by scaring that Arable away with a rotten goose egg? Bless my soul, I believe it was old Templeton. Who bit your tail and got you back on your feet this morning after you fainted in front of the crowd? Old Templeton. Has it ever occurred to you that I'm sick of running errands and doing favors? What do you think I am, anyway, a rat of all work? Wilbur was desperate. The people were coming, and the rat was failing him. Suddenly he remembered Templeton's fondness for food. "Templeton, I'll make you a solemn promise. Get Charlotte's egg sack for me, and from now on I will let you eat first when Lurvy slops me. I will let you have your choice of everything in the trough, and I won't touch a thing until you're through." The rat sat up. "You mean that?" "I promise, and I cross my heart." All right, it's a deal, said the rat. He walked to the wall and started to climb. His stomach was still swollen from last night's gorge. Groaning and complaining, he pulled himself slowly to the ceiling. He crept along till he reached the egg sack. Charlotte moved aside for him. She was dying, but she still had enough strength to move a little. Then Templeton bared his long, ugly teeth and began snipping the threads that fastened the sack to the ceiling. Wilbur watched from below. There's Templeton climbing. Use extreme care, he said. I don't want a single one of those eggs harmed. This stuff sticks in my mouth, complained the rat. It's worth letting caramel candy. But Templeton worked away at the job and managed to cut the sack adrift and carry it to the ground, where he dropped it in front of Wilbur. Wilbur heaved a great sigh of relief. Thank you, Templeton. I will never, ever forget this as long as I live. Neither will I, said Rat, picking his teeth. I feel as though I'd eaten a spool of thread. Well, home we go. Templeton crept into the crate and buried himself in the straw. He got out of sight just in time. Lurvy and John Arable and Mr. Zuckerman came along at that moment, followed by Mrs. Arable and Mrs. Zuckerman and Avery and Fern. Wilbur had already decided how he would carry the egg sack. There was only one way possible. He carefully took the little bundle in his mouth and held it there on top of his tongue. He remembered what Charlotte had told him, that the sack was waterproof and strong. It felt funny on his tongue and made him drool a bit. And of course he couldn't say anything, but he was being shoved into the crate. He looked up at Charlotte and gave her a wink. She knew he was saying goodbye in the only way he could. She knew her children were safe. Goodbye, she whispered. Then she summoned all her strength and waved one of her front legs at him. She never moved again. Next day, as the Ferris wheel was being taken apart and the racehorses being loaded into vans and the entertainers were packing up their belongings and driving away in their trailers, Charlotte died. The fairgrounds were soon deserted. The sheds and buildings were empty and forlorn. The infield was littered with bottles and trash. Nobody of the hundreds of people that had visited the fair knew that a gray spider had played the most important part of all. No one was with her when she died. And so tomorrow we will finish up Charlotte's Web. It is sad that Charlotte dies, isn't it? God bless you, and I hope you have a wonderful Sunday.